Maybe the biggest missing person story in the world has been the disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
Words cannot describe the anguish and despair that we are feeling as the parents of our beautiful daughter, Madeleine.
This happened back in 2007 in Portugal, where her parents went out to dinner. They were vacationing and left their 3 children in the place they were staying, and they came back. Madeleine's gone, never to be seen again.
Please continue to pray for Madeleine. She's lovely.
This is clearly murder, right?
No.
Or abduction.
Or abduction.
Or abduction.
But plausible, I think it's more plausible that unfortunately she's no longer alive.
There are certainly instances where trafficking is a scenario to discuss here.
But they would have taken all 3 kids.
No,
Not necessarily.
She was the
3 kids is
smallest.
a much larger risk than taking 1.
A lot to control.
The other kids were younger, which is going to be so much more work.
It's easier
and
to take a
liability.
younger kid because the kid can't talk back.
No, but he can scream and cry.
It probably wouldn't have been actually that hard. I mean, they find an open window as well and the door's open. I don't think it would have taken that many minutes if they were stalking and waiting for the proper time.
The police aren't believing this abduction theory where the child's still alive. The police think it was murder because at a point they named the parents as suspect.
Some of the evidence held by the prosecution comes from phone taps of the McCanns, not just in August, but also in the early days when the search for Madeleine was in full swing.
It is weird that the parents just left, and the police said the parents may have been in on this and that they may have done something for various reasons. This is an interview with the father and the mother. It's not so much what he's saying. Listen to the father.
Did you kill your daughter?
No, never. And, there's nothing with any logic that could, you would have to start with why, how, when, who, and there's just simply, the answer to any of these things is there's nothing to suggest anything. So, no, that's an emphatic no.
It was a
weird body language.
That was such weird body language. If you ask me, did I kill my child, my answer will be no. And the fact that he had to keep explaining and looking away, it looked like how I looked as a child lying to my mom.
Pause right there. These are people, grief-stricken people, who have never been on television, let alone on television under these circumstances. Putting them on camera in an interview, they're gonna waffle.
And when you know that people think that you're guilty, I think that causes you to almost act a little more awkward than you normally would, because you already know they're posing a question that's already making you feel uncomfortable.
But you know the question's coming. It's not like, oh my God, you asked me that.
It is too much to assume that they have media training, is my point.
The bottom line is, years ago, when we were trained as interrogator, was to read body language. And the science has since come out to show that body language is inherently unreliable because people express themselves differently.
We don't know their baseline.
We don't know their baseline. Right. We don't know any of that. And so I think to rely solely on body language is a colossal mistake, and that is how innocent people get wrongfully convicted in this country.
And then there's Paul Ekman, who's considered the human lie detector. He wrote the book Telling Lies, and there was even a show about him where Tim Roth played him in Lie to Me. And he even suggests that there is not always a consistency. So crossing your arms doesn't always mean that you're being defensive. Looking away doesn't always mean that you're about to lie. And there are also cultural implications of your body language, so it's not super consistent.
There was a theory that this was an accident, that the parents actually maybe somehow gave the kids something so they wouldn't wake up, so they could go off and do their thing.
Like a drug.
Like a drug, like some Benadryl or something like that. They gave them too much, and that it was an accidental death of some sort.
And then they tried covering it up.
And they tried to cover it up. But no theory along those lines has been supported through all the investigations that have been done into these people who've lost their daughter.
I just don't think it's plausible. Possible, yes. Plausible, no. Where would they put the body so quickly? Like the dad goes in there, oops, we did an accident. Now I'm gonna put her body. They would have found her body.
The timeline of this is nearly impossible to say the parents are culpable.
Where are you going to get rid of a body within this resort and have it not be found somewhere?
Yeah.
And that nobody's seen you walk around to a dumpster, or like, what are you going to do?
And there was also a theory that the tapas, they call them the tapas 7, because it was the 7 adult friends that went to this tapas restaurant, right? That was right by the room. So there's a theory floating around that they all knew and they helped to cover it up. But it's like, that is not plausible. I don't think you can get 7 adults to go, oh yeah, we'll help you keep this terrible secret.
We should make it clear, the parents were 10 months later eliminated as suspects.
In addition to which, I mean, so the police did end up zeroing in on a Christian Bruckner who has a long history of sexual assaults, child assaults, lived nearby, and so on. And so I think that it is far more likely that Bruckner had something to do with this.
He was never charged.
He was never charged, but they did look at him, and the fact that he wasn't charged doesn't mean that he did or did not do it. It just means they just couldn't get the evidence.
And he denied being in the area at that time, but his phone pinged in the area at that time.
They're looking at it right now because of the emails, right? He deleted a ton of emails from 2007, but one of the investigators said they've seen them and they have a link. They're not going to talk about what it is right now, but that he may have been involved in that. So I would wait. I mean, he might get charged eventually.
I think they were probably wonderful parents who made a fatal mistake.